Is this the easiest terrain system for role-playing games, skirmish games, war games, whatever type of tabletop game it is you're playing? If you need terrain for it, is this the easiest way to set it up? Well, I think so, but then again, I may be a little bit biased because this is the terrain system that I created with my brother a few years ago. We call it TerraTiles. I know that a lot of people have been enjoying them over the years, but one thing I've noticed is that there are a lot of people who see TerraTiles setups and they want to know where they can get them and set up their own TerraTiles, and that hasn't been possible because they've been out of print for several years now. And so what I thought I would do, knowing that there are a lot of people who didn't get TerraTiles the first time they were available, I thought I would do a re-release of them so I can get them back in the hands of the gaming community who would like to use them. So I'm going to do a re-release of these through GameFound. GameFound has been kind enough to accept the TerraTiles project, and I really like their platform, and I'm excited about being able to use it to potentially fund another release of TerraTiles. Check out all of these amazing setups that we've been able to do with TerraTiles. I think they look so fantastic and they're so easy to set up. When we set out to design TerraTiles, we set out to make large, durable tiles. These things are thick. They're like board game boards. They're thick cardboard. And they're large. They're actually 9 inches from point to point. And we think this is basically an ideal size because it allows you to set up with all the streams and coastlines and things like that. Very organic shapes for your terrain setup, but also the tiles aren't so small that it just takes forever to set up. So this is like the perfect compromise in being able to do a setup quickly, but also a really nice and organic setup. He and I also designed these because we wanted something that didn't require painting. It doesn't require 3D printing today. These are just ready right out of the box to set up your terrain. That makes them easy. And if you've been following what I've been doing here, well, you know that I'm a fan of easy. Make something easy, and then you use it a lot, and then you get this bright, nice-looking battlefield. They're also easy to transport because they're flat, because you're not trying to deal with 3D terrain. By the way, that means that the terrain stays out of your way at the gaming table. You're not knocking things over. It's very playable. You can set miniatures on it, and you don't have to worry about not having a place to put them. This is how they look, how it's sized with miniatures. So I got a Games Workshop skeleton here. I got a dwarf from the Middle-earth line. That's an orc from the Thunderbolt Mountain line. So this right here, these, are just your standard miniatures on a TerraTiles tile. So we designed them for 25 and 28 millimeter gaming. They're perfect sized for that. And then because they're flat, like I said, they're easy to transport. A box takes up this amount of space as a small board game. So they're easy to store in your closet. And if you want to take them with you because you're gaming someplace else, it's just like a small board game that you take with you. Now, if you do like making your own terrain, you can augment this with all of your special pieces. I've got different houses that I built and bridges that I built and things like that. And so you just set this right on there. And this has been helpful to me because it's meant that with the TerraTiles, I can focus on making my special bits of terrain, like towers and castle walls and things like that, and I don't have to worry about making just basic paths and open ground and things like that. The TerraTiles takes care of all that, and then I focus on the unique parts and the fun parts. And we made them sufficiently generic as well so that you can use them for fantasy, you can use them for science fiction, you can use them for modern, whatever you want to, historical games. That's all up to you. I think you'll be amazed once you have them how often they get on your table because they are just easy. The sets here that are based on the green grass, I'm calling this the basic battlefield. And we've got sets of streams, of course. There's a swamp, we've got paths. I know I've got a road someplace in here. Of course, rocky coastlines right here. We've got sandy shores in here. And I've got just sea tiles as well. That's the grotto. That's one of my favorite pieces right there inside the cliff shoreline. And then also here is the spring for the stream. No, there we go. There's the road right there. So there's one of the roadways. We got roads and paths. So I've been dividing these up into new sets based on what kind of thematic component they've got. And I've put lists with graphics over there on the GameFound page. The GameFound link is down below. So you can go over there and you can see exactly what tiles are going to be in what sets. I do have 2 ways of improving these, though, because what's the point in doing just a straight re-release if you can do something that's a little bit better based on the gamer feedback that I've had over the years? And one thing I've been asked a lot is about grids. There are gamers who play games with grids, there are gamers who play games without grids, and the grid-based gamers really want to have these, especially if you are using miniatures for Dungeons & Dragons or other grid-based role-playing game and you want them to be able to do that. So I would really like TerraTiles to be available in both ungridded and gridded ways. So my thinking for the re-release is going to be that since they're double-sided anyway, you should have the same art on both sides of the tile, but then have a grid on one side and then no grid on the other side. That way you've got a set, whatever type of game you're playing to, you just go to your TerraTiles box, you can use grid or no grid easily, whichever one you want to do. Now, as you probably know, you can't perfectly tessellate squares on hexagons. So there's no way to do that. And of course, one of the major things about TerraTiles is that we want them to be able to be used in any kind of orientation, and that's what allows them to be so flexible when you're building up your terrain. And so we don't want to put just a square grid over this that's going to lock the tiles into some orientation. Now, some people have been using transparent overlays onto the gridless TerraTiles in order to put a square grid on them, and that's worked well. But you can perfectly tessellate hexagons on hexagons. And so this is what I've been working with here. Now, these aren't TerraTiles, even though they are the same size and the same thickness as TerraTiles. These were the tiles that were done to use as the game board in the board game Enchantress that we designed. And we wanted to use grids in Enchantress. But I like using hexagon grids. I'm a hexagon grid kind of gamer myself. So obviously the TerraTiles are hexagonal, and so if you put hexagonal grids on them, that should take care of everything that you need. So I want to use a grid like this on the back of the hexagons, on the back of the TerraTiles, so that you've got grids and you've got a grid and gridless TerraTiles, however you want to play. So you can see these grids, it'll be the same size grid on the TerraTiles art, but they are a great size for 25 and 28 millimeter miniatures. As I was talking to other gamers about potentially re-releasing these, they told me about BattleTech, and that a lot of gamers who play BattleTech might really like to have the hexagonal grid. And I went, oh, well, I will definitely check into that. So I got some BattleTech miniatures, and check that out. The BattleTech miniatures are perfect for the TerraTiles grid. So if you are a BattleTech player and you want some different easy terrain, the gridded TerraTiles are going to work extremely well for you. So now, another thing that I would like to be able to do with TerraTiles that I've heard is make them wet and dry erase marker compatible, because I've heard from other gamers who would really like to be able to do that, who would like to be able to annotate their TerraTiles with either wet or dry erase markers, especially if when you're doing a role-playing game or something like that, and you've got this out, but for some reason you need to annotate and say where some kind of spell effect is, or where something else is, or draw some type of campground or other type of significant place in your game, just be able to draw right on the TerraTiles and then wipe it up later. And I think that's a really good idea. So I'm looking into that as well and figuring out how to coat them. And it looks like we're going to be able to do that. So the TerraTiles are going to be coated so that you can also mark on them and annotate them any way you want for your game. And I think that's going to be a great addition. So these are all tiles that were released previously, but I don't want to just re-release the existing TerraTiles tiles. I want to be able to expand into new environments, and so I've been working on developing a desert. And so here's some concept art for the desert tiles that are being worked on right now. Adam Botsford, who was the artist for Goodnight Sword, is working with me to develop the desert TerraTiles, and I think they are just looking fantastic. Deserts have been one of the most requested environments since we started to release TerraTiles years ago, and so I think it's time for them to happen. I think having a really good desert set is going to be a fantastic addition to the TerraTiles line. If you follow the project on GameFound, then you'll get all the updates about new tiles, how the deserts are shaping up, and also any other kind of environment that we might be able to do for the TerraTiles line. Plus, I really want to be able to give away free boxes of TerraTiles to everyone in the gaming community who would like them. So I've been developing a box of kind of special tiles for TerraTiles that don't quite fit into the other boxes, but I think are very thematic and very interesting and important for TerraTile setups. So I'm calling this the Special Tile Box. And if you follow the project on GameFound, and then you back for at least 4 boxes of TerraTiles, I will send you the box of special tiles free. So right now, one of the tiles that is going to be in the special box is this one. This is the energized standing stone tile, so it's been energized with magic, and so that's kind of a neat tile that can serve as a focal point during one of the games. So there's going to be, I believe, 12 tiles in the special tile box like this, and so I'll be releasing, what all the special tiles are in the lead up to the GameFound campaign, and if you want to know exactly what they are as they're released, follow over there on GameFound again. The link to the GameFound page is down below. So I hope you are as interested in TerraTiles as I am. I hope to see you over there on the GameFound page for the TerraTiles campaign, as well as here on the YouTube channel for more about the development of TerraTiles, because I'm going to put out more videos on the creation of the deserts as I get them, and also other environments if we're able to do them. And if you have any ideas for TerraTiles, or what you want to see, or what you think they should, feature or do, please put them down in the comments. I would love to read them, and, it's under development right now, so now's the time to consider everything. So I will see you here and on GameFound. Cheers for now.